What's up, everybody? Your boy P. Welsh here, bringing to you UFC 322. A little bit late, but we're here on Saturday. Gonna do the picks. Got some bets out as well. We'll share at the end of the video, but we're gonna get right into it with Borshev versus Camilo. Yeah, we're gonna keep this one short and sweet. Don't like this fight at all on the card. Don't want to bet on it at all. I don't know if you can trust Camilo's gas tank lay, and then Borshev, if he's given Chase Hooper's, the career-defining performances, you got to be questioning it right now. I think it's Camilo early or Borshev late if you like either of them. I have Camilo as the official pick, but just because you can't really pick Visali over there, but he does have a chance if Camilo just gasses out if he tries to get takedown subs and just has nothing past minute 7.5. I can see Borshev really coming in late and winning in a third round decision. But I got Camilo here, kind of starching him early. I just don't trust the chin of Borshev, and I think he gets put out. But I mean, if Camilo really ain't that level, then he ain't gonna be there. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one. Let's go, baby. Next up, middleweight bout: Shirshkakev versus Eric Makhachev, 10-0 versus 10-3-1. Both guys coming off a win, and yeah, big favorite Shirshkakev, and they have him projected to finish rounds 1, round 2 at minus 280, 300. So that's a way to look at this fight. Mechanico is seasoned veteran, not going to go in there without a fight, but definitely worry about his chin durability and at middleweight the ability to take a big shot like that. So I think he has a chance to make it competitive, but that's why I think if you give him the second round, I think Shirshkakev really is going to make the adjustments and I don't know. I kind of see Eric Mechanico showing up a little bit, but then at the end of the day, there's no way I'm not picking Shirshkakev and probably even throw him in one of the round robins that I'm gonna kind of go with just to have a little bit on every fight because sometimes you just want to if it happens you just want to get a check mark on it. You know what I mean? If Eric Mechanico shows up and drags it into the third round and takes it to the scorecard, then whatever, that's on Shirshkakev. But if you can get him, in rounds 1 or 2, or inside the distance, sub submission or sub KO for Shirshkakev, I think sometimes you just take a little layup and you bunny a couple together like that. So you will see how this plays out. That's kind of the official pick, and I like Shirshkakev round 1, round 2. Either KO or sub. I think you play him either way just in case, he gets the back of Mechanico somehow, trips him up against the phage if they're trying, reverses him off a clinch or something. I don't know, but Shirshkakev. Next one here, women's strawweight, Angela Hill versus Fatima Klein. 18-5-1 for Hill. We're going to do these kind of quick here because I'm doing them on Saturday behind on this video. So going Fatima Klein here, decision, Fatima Klein. I do think Angela Hill definitely has some chance to win by finish, but I'm just kind of not on that picking it's going to happen train. I just don't think Fatima Klein is just so much younger, more athletic. I just think she'll give Angela Hills a lot of problem with the metric advantage, too. I just think this is Fatima Klein by decision, and, yeah, rinse and repeat. Sorry, Angela Hill, but let's see what she come out with. Next up, one of my favorite fights of the entire card, Pat Sabatini, great name, featherweight versus Chepe Machine Gun Mariscal, my dog, dude. 20-5, Sabatini coming off a win against Jordan Anderson Brito. 10-6-1 no contest for Chepe Mariscal coming off a win. And 5-0 in the UFC. Sabatini on a little bit of a rebound featherweight bout rematch from many years ago. If you can look into that, you can look into that if you want. But yes, if Sabatini going to be able to grapple, or is Mariscal going to be able to defend and strike? And I kind of lean towards the latter there with Chepe. Not only have I been on him, he's been one of my favorite fighters, since he's joined the UFC, but I just think he also has great athleticism, takedown defense, and striking ability. I think he could be able to toss Pat into a bad position and win the fight almost from there. And then Pat could also grab a leg lock from there and put Mariscal in a position. This is a fascinating fight. I am on Chepe all day. I think it's I like Chepe 3/decision. I think it will be something that goes later. I know Sabatini's chin is dust, but I think at some point Chepe's super patient in there, and he's signed up for 15 minutes of fighting, and he'll give it to you if you're not gonna go out there and take a chance to get finished. I mean, he 30-24 Damon Jackson. That was incredible that he didn't get a finish there. He just crushed Ricardo Ramos, Morgan Sharari. He rallied and won there. So I'm on a Cheppy. I'm never gonna not pick Cheppy for this point unless he's going against a certified killer. But I think this is yeah, I think this is a Cheppy spot. I think he's gonna outstrike him. I think he's gonna outgrapple him, outclass him. And there's a few pick'em fights that I think some of these they're the minus 140s to plus 120s this week are going to be a lot more distinct than what the betting lines indicate. I think this is one of the first ones that started. I think Cheppy's going to look like a decisive favorite. I think he's going to, not even favorite, just going to look, just have a good style against Sabatini, who's just got that one-trick pony. And I think Cheppy's very smart. He comes in there with a game plan. Hasn't been in the octagon in 10 months, has some time to recover. Formulate a game plan, and yeah, I think both these guys are way better than what they did. I just think this is a bad matchup for Sabatini, and I'm going Cheppy, Machine Gun, Mariscal. Possibly third round finish, but definitely dominating to get on the scorecards. Let's go, baby. Next up, middleweight bout. Kyle Dawkins for 16-4-1, no contest versus Gerald GM3 Mearshart 37-20, coming off a loss. And yeah, that chin looks dusted from Mearshart. Is Dawkins going to stand and bang? I think so. Even though he's got a lot of submissions on his record, I think he's going to stand in there and fight with Mearshart, who's been willing to just not engage, period. If you watch his last few fights, the Brad Tavares fight, there's, he tried a little bit, but he had no success. Yeah, I think if you even try, I think Dawkins will even just defend and want to throw hands. I don't even think he'll want to engage with Mearshart like that. Like, why would you think about maybe jumping a gilly and getting on top and let Mearshart get on top? I think he'll just disengage and just stand and throw. And I think Dawkins second round KO. I even see it going a little later into the third, but I think there's a finish. I don't think this fight goes there. I just think Mearshart at some point, and he could even rally late, but I just think, surprisingly, Kyle Dawkins wins the throne fight against Michel Pereira, and now we're all picking him to knock out GM3. But it's like this is like Cousin versus Unk, not double Unk Bull, but Cousin versus Unk, and Gerald has just had way one too many. 40. Yeah, that's crazy. I just never forget because I bet on Michel Pereira against Kyle Dawkins. When Pereira gets starched in the chin and his arms go up like that, I'm just like, I think about that now. So I don't know. But yeah, Dawkins the official pick. I think he probably does knock out Mearshart. I picked Mearshart a bunch recently, and I just can't do it again. Can't do it again. So there you go, Kyle Dawkins. Next up, featherweight fight. Malcolm Wellmaker, make it Wellmaker. Let's go, baby. Ethan Ewing, 10-0 versus debutant coming in on 2 days' notice. And I actually quite think, what did I do here? Wrong fight. Wellmaker versus Ewing. I actually think this one might be a little bit more competitive than the lines initially letting on. I don't have it updated. I'm a little, like I said, I'm behind here, but I think if you're going to like Wellmaker where he was against Haddon, you're going to like Wellmaker here by KO. I just think he might have to work for it a little bit more. I think this guy, Ewing's got a good puncher's chance in the first, 7.5, 9 minutes, but I think late in the game, Wellmaker is going to be able to pick him apart. And I do worry about if he gets like blitzkrieged in a way where Wellmaker hasn't fought somebody that has like intense forward pressure. But that being said, too, he's got this insane right hook that, I mean, if he can time it up and aim it out, and we'll see how it goes here. I expect Ewing to look good the first round, and then I expect Wellmaker to kind of rally second, third. I think Ewing fought recently another weight cut. I think he literally fought like last week, November 7th. Yeah, he literally fought last week, first round KO, making another fight on 2 days' notice, cutting weight. So, like, let's see what happens here. I don't even know if he's naturally a bantamweight, and these guys are both fighting at featherweight now. Is this like got a little asterisk to me? I'm not entirely in love with it, even putting it in a ticket, because I think there's some other spots I'd even rather like slash hedge. But I mean, I think Wellmaker, I think he'll end up winning by decision. I think this one's hard. I do think Wellmaker though is the pick. I think Ewing's going to come out strong. I think he could really surprise him in the first round. It might take the second round, and even, but I think he could even get a finish in a second round and not even make it to the third. So let's go Wellmaker round 2, baby. Next up, women's flyweight, Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. Blanchfield 13-2 coming off a win versus Cortez 12-2 coming off a win. I didn't think Tracy Cortez's record was that nice, but she is. Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. We got Cortez last win against Ruggiero, lost to Namajunas, beat Jazz Devicious, beat Melissa Gatto. That's years ago now. Blanchfield lost to Firat, but came back with a win against why is her name not against Rose, which I think was still kind of controversial, 5 rounds. I think Blanche, and a lot of people like Blanchfield by points as the favorite. I think Blanche is easily the pick. I don't know necessarily on the money line, dude. I got her on sub for half a unit because I think Blanchfield is kind of due for a sub. Fighting in New York, she's in the home crowd. I think she doesn't have to fight for the 5 rounds, which she has for the last 2. I think she's gonna come out really aggressive, go for some takedowns, and work something. I just don't know, man. I just think at some point she's going to want to put on this pace. She hasn't had a finish in a couple years, and I know women's go to a lot, but she was on an incredible 3-fight submission streak before that. I don't necessarily think Tracy Cortez has the best ground game and takedown defense, right? 62%, so she has, been put into positions, and I truly think that if Blanchfield gets her into those positions, I think she actually will work something, rear naked choke. I think she'll do a lot of damage. Maybe she's live for the TKO, and I'm missing that on a little bit of a come to. Like maybe she won't be able to work the submission, but work a TKO finish, which I have to kind of think about as I talk about it. But I really do think she's live for a finish here. I think she'll get a submission. I think she could work something arm bar. I think rear naked choke. I just think at some point she's just going to be a better fighter than Tracy Cortez, and this is not a knock on Tracy because she's really impressed me. I'm very high on Blanchfield. I'm a little biased, Northeast biased, being up here by her. She trains, in the state of Jersey, is fighting in New York, and I just think she's going to have a great performance. I think she's kind of due. Not saying her performances, they haven't been as great. And, again, things change over time. You don't really know, but I just hope that she's going to come out there and get a real, again, this is her fighting elevated competition. Let's see if she can actually get a finish against elevated competition to put her name right where she's going to go take out, who's flyweight champ right now? Is that Dern? So I mean that'd be insane, right? Because this is, who's the strawweight they're fight? I don't even know what's going on right now in the women's division. Is bantamweight? They're fighting the bantamweight because Wei Lee moved up, right? Something like that. No, they're not. I don't know. Strawweight's going up to flyweight, so they want. She wants to fight the winner here. The winner, maybe if she gets a finish, she go fight the winner of Wei Lee versus Shevchenko, which would be fire, right? That's what happened. Strawweight moved up. All right, I need my editor to cut that out, which he's not because that's me, and I'm not going to cut it out. We go live all the time. So, yeah, Blanchfield by submission I think is going to put a real stamp on the night, too. I got a little bit on that. That could pay for the night itself, just that one pick. It's super juiced odds. Now, I do think she does win by decision in a way, too. Like, easily dominate for 15 minutes. But if she's dominating that easily I don't know. This one could go either way because I think Cortez, if she makes it later in the rounds, is definitely more live for the decision win. If Blanchfield can implement the ground game, that's where I think I kind of really worry about her in winning. But that's where Cortez is live, and a lot of people think so. But, man, I just got Blanche. I just think she's a different kind of beast. And, let's go Blanche. Next up, middleweight bout. What a fun fight. Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodriguez. Kopylov 14-4 versus RoboCop 17-6 Rodriguez. Kopylov coming off a loss to Paulo Costa. Rodriguez coming off the win against Jack Hermanson. Double KO, double tap for Hermanson. Kopylov actually won me a lot of money losing that night because I had Costa by decision. And, that cashed one of my round robins. So I also lost money on Kopylov Hernandez, and I arguably think that he lost Almeida fight, the Cesar Almeida Roman Kopylov fight. I've been on this guy forever. Like, dude, I've watched probably like 8 Kopylov fights. Every one of his fights I pretty much watch. And I think he's in a lot of trouble here against Gregory Rodriguez. I think he'll be able to weather the storm. I do think this gets to the 3rd round. That's kind of like my biggest thing is like, does this fight end early? And quite frankly, I think both these guys are so skilled. I think they'll be able to hide it for about 10 minutes. I think Kopylov is he's tough enough to get there. He's not going to get grappled by Rodriguez like he would like Hernandez, who's just a different beast. And every one of Kopylov's fights kind of goes into the late 2nd, 3rd round. I mean, and some of the guys that he fought too that he's won against, like, okay, Soriano's a welterweight, right? He went down. Claudio Ribeiro, second round head kick. I think RoboCop will be a little bit better than that. Josh Freemed, late second. And yeah, Chris Curtis, late third. So I think this fight could definitely go a little bit later. I think if you compare those guys to RoboCop, who I just listed, I think RoboCop finishes them round 1, round 2, all of those guys, right? So he's going against Kopolov, and we got RoboCop Rodriguez, who only lost to Cannonier recently, beat Leroy Duncan by decision, which I should just not think about that fight. That fight has messed with my brain so much. A finish against Tavares, a finish against Tulalune, and got finishes by Ferreira. So he's definitely live to catch a straight right hook. Like, I could see Kopolov coming with like a straight jab, wobbling in him, and then pushing him against the fence and getting him finished. This fight could definitely go either way. This fight could end in the first, second, third round. This fight could go to the cards. This is probably my biggest wild card, one of my most exciting fights for there. Reluctantly, I didn't notice this, but I'm on RoboCop round 3/decision way too much in some of my round robins. When you see that posted, I'm a little ashamed about that. So I'm going to have to hedge with some Kopolov money line in my next one, because I'm also going to do a couple other ones. I have to do one more because I was sloppy with making them, and I apologize if you guys. So pick the ones that you like the best. I have a few picks, but yeah, I got way too many RoboCop round 3/decisions. So if that happens, we're eating. We're getting a bunch of check marks. But if that doesn't happen, I could see him losing a decision. I can see him getting. I could see everything happening. I could see knockouts either way. I could see decisions either way. I could see 1, 2s, or 3s either way. I think this fight is so variable. I don't know why I have so much juice on it. I'm so sick about it in a way, but yeah. My pick is Rodriguez. I also have done well fading Kopel. Like I said, he paid off fading, and if I just continued to kind of fade him in a way, that Almeida fight was a pick'em, and I thought, I mean, it was split decision. It was still very close. I don't even remember what the official pick was, honestly. But then I faded him when he was a big favorite against Costa, because I was just like, Costa's so much more talented, and I kind of see something like that here. I just think RoboCop is so much more big and talented than the guys he's faced in his career, right? I can just see Kopolov kind of just struggling late second, third round, kind of surviving, and that's why I have RoboCop 3, because I think he'll be able to survive a while. Like, like I said, that's where you have to kind of realize is he's good at against these better guys, Almeida, Curtis, Costa. He's lasting later. He's not finishing them earlier against pretty much welterweights. Let's be honest. Freemed, Ribeiro, Soriano, DeCricchio. He's not even in the UFC. He's been in years. So Rodriguez, baby, let's go. Next up, maybe one of my least exciting fights. Another middleweight, Bo Nickel. As exciting as that last fight is, I think this fight will be almost equally as boring. Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. Rodolfo Vieira, 7-1. Nickel coming off the KO loss to RDR. Rodolfo, 11-3, coming off the win. Looked really good in his last fight, but he fought Tresean Gore. So if you don't look good against Tresean Gore, you shouldn't win. But he couldn't get the finish against Tresean Gore. I kind of think this fight goes 3 rounds. I think this fight goes to the decision. I think Vieira is going to be huge for Bo Nickel to just think he's going to be able to wrestle him. I think this fight looks a lot like the Paul Craig fight, where it's going to just be a lot of stand-up, maybe a few clinches, a few grapplings. I think Nickel's going to try and avoid the clinch and then avoid those knees and elbows, and I think he's going to stay on the outside. I think he'll probably try and implement a takedown early, and it won't work, and the fight will be completely changed. I think Vieira's a live dog here. I really do. I also like him. I think this fight goes 3 rounds. I think this fight easily goes to the 3rd round. If Bo Nickel does win, it's going to be something where he finishes him in the 3rd round, where it actually manages to take a takedown, do some damage, and wear him down. Because I don't think you're just going to be able to finish Vieira like that. I don't think he necessarily... you know what I mean? The only guy that's done that to him is Fluffy Hernandez. And are we comparing Bo Nickel to Fluffy Hernandez right now? I don't think so. I think this fight is a lot closer than it is, and I think it can go either way on the judges' scorecards. I have a hedge on both guys to win 3rd round in decision in 2 different round robins. So I do think that's kind of the win condition on both of them. A late finish / this one's going to the card, boys. This one's going to be greasy. This one's going to be sweaty. 29-28, split decision here. Bo Nickel's going to come away with the win, and you're going to just walk away. That's what's happening. Bookmark it. Next up, lightweight bout on the main card. Benny B. Dariush against Benoit. We got Benny versus Benny here. Saint Denis. 23-6-1 for Dariush coming off the win against Moicano. BSD 15-3 coming off the win against. It's not. He beat somebody after Hoofy. He looked really good against Hoofy after the Kyle Propolek and lost to Moicano. And yeah, I don't really know what to think about this one, dude. I have Moicano. Initially, I had Moicano all day. I think this is, again, an overcorrection to BSD's recent performances. Like, we all knew Hoofy had negative ground game going into that fight, and yet he was a massive favorite. Propolek, nothing to be impressed with. And then if you go back that, you got 2 finishes against Moicano, who Dariush just finished. Now, did Moicano not throw the fight? He looked shitty against Dariush. What was it? I don't know. I would love to be like, Moicano, what the fuck happened? Because I don't feel like even on his podcast he ever answered that. That being said, I don't understand. I think Dariush is a live dog here. I think he can present a lot of problems. He's big. I mean, granted, he's got dust chin now, getting knocked out by Sarukian, but sometimes he just get caught. The Oliveira ground and pound, you can forgive him for that. That was almost 2 years ago. He looked good against Moicano, coming off against the canceled Moicano fight where he got passed up. I'm not going to doubt Benny B here. I'm going Dariush here. I got him in a couple parlays. I do think BSD can finish him, but I'm not going against Dariush here. I think a little overcorrection on that is happening here, and I think this is way more of a pick'em fight, and I think it will be way closer than Dariush being a big underdog. I could be completely wrong here. I could not be looking at the age as much, and BSD might be coming into full form at against a 36-year-old here, but I just think it's going to be a veteran performance. I think it's going to look a little bit more like a Dustin Poirier fight where he's going to stand and bang. And if BSD can't counter with the hands, then I don't know if he's going to be able to hang over 3 rounds. I think Dariush can get that decision win and look good, 29-28 in a way, even 30-27 potentially. I think it will be a little bit closer than that. I think at some point he'll get taken down. But also, Dariush can get taken down in the first round and it be over, and I look like a fucking fool. So as I say this aloud, I always think about the other thing that can happen, and if he can't stuff a takedown, he can get finished in the first round. So Dariush is my pick. I'm just standing on it. I should reversal to BSD, but I'm going Dariush. Let's go. Another welterweight fight. Leon Rocky Edwards. Come on, Leon! Get your hands going! 22-5-1 no contest coming off a loss versus Carlos Prates. 22-7 coming off the KO win to Jeff Neal. And yeah, I mean, the submission loss to Sean Brady is not a good look to Leon Edwards, and I think this is Prates. I think this is Prates early. This is Prates late. This is Prates 30-27. I just think he's going to put on a volume, do damage, and potentially be the first man to finish Leon Edwards with a KO. I could see Leon being really patient and kind of weathering the storm the first round, but just taking some damage. Like, the thing is, Leon doesn't really fight strikers like somebody like Prates. And I will say this. I had Prates 3-decision against Jeff Neal, and I'm going back to that well here again because Jeff Neal ran into that freaking spinning elbow, dude. There was 8 seconds left in the fight. Jeff Neal did not want to fight 2 more rounds. He literally ran in there and got knocked out. Like, if you go watch that, he could have just stood there and fought 2 more rounds, but he was like, nah, I got a good chance. I don't know what he was thinking. So I don't think Leon's going to do something like that. So I'm going back to the well with Prates 3-decision on a couple plays just because I really like it. I think he's going to outclass him. I think even if it does take him a round to get going, he's just going to look way better, and he can get the finish in the third and just go win on the scorecards, even if it's a split decision. This one could be also a split decision too. But I like Prates here. I just think he'll be a better range fighter. He'll be better later. And once he gets going, he's going to do some serious damage and have Leon up against the cage where Leon will be fighting to survive. This kind of reminds me of the RoboCop versus Kopolov fight where it's like certain styles they'll dominate against, but if they're fighting against somebody that's a different style that's equally or better than them in skills, it's a super tough matchup. And this is kind of the same thing to me for Prates versus Edwards. This is a Prates all-day spot. Next up, another welterweight fight, dude. Sean Brady, 18-1 coming off the win against Leon. And then Michael Morales, 18-0 coming off the win against Gilbert. Yeah, man, what are you going to say about this fight, dude? I'm surprised that Morales is an underdog, honestly. I think the recency bias against Brady is very strong on this one. And I am, unfortunately, all on Michael Morales 4 ways to Sunday. So, I don't know, man. I don't think that Morales should be an underdog. I think this should be a straight pick 'em if you're gonna handicap it anyway. I think he's gonna have. I think he has. Dude, I just don't. I mean, maybe he gets taken down again. One, we hasn't really been tested on his takedown defense. It's kind of like the opposite of, Leon Edwards. This guy only fights kind of only grapplers in a way. So I think Morales here is one of my favorite plays. I think Morales late. I think this is a late KO for Morales here. I think about third round KO. I think Brady will be able to save a little bit, stall a little bit, but Morales is going to be clearly winning. He's going to finish him late and bro, there's so many welterweights fighting. This is basically like a Grand Prix right now. It's kind of crazy. They should have just announced some crazy ass Grand Prix, some welterweight Grand Prix, right? Yeah, because there's how many welterweight eliminators on here too. So we're just these three. We had Edwards, Prates, Morales, and then the main event. So, yeah, I like Morales here. I think he's arguably one of the most talented fighters, one of the best freaking athletes. His mother's an Olympian, and that's nothing against Sean Brady and who's brought him up, because my man's a certified dog off the streets of Philly, and I really hope he wins. I'm also betting Morales so heavily because I want Sean Brady to win. So if Sean Brady does win and beat Morales, and I'll be super happy about that. So this is kind of like a hedge on your happiness, but I also think Morales is a freak in the octagon at 170, bro. 171. And yeah, I think he's gonna ascend here, bro, and he could look really good. Because if Bilal can knock you out, Morales can knock you out. Next up, these are my two favorite plays here. We got the women's flyweight, Shevchenko versus Zhang Wei Li, 25-4-1, coming off a win. Wei Li, 26-3, coming off a win. So I'm all on Wei Li again with Morales. That's also one of my plays. I have moneyline Morales, moneyline Wei Li here. The one thing that I bring this up as I'm even talking to this now that I get worried about is Wei Li's competition versus Shevchenko's competition. Shevchenko has been against far better competition, Fiorot, Grasso. I mean, maybe not so much, but I do think Zhang Wei Li is gonna be the champ here. I think she's just gonna win a decision. I think she's gonna be better for 25 minutes. I think she's a better athlete. I think she'll work some takedowns. I think if you're gonna lose to Alexa Grasso and fight her to a close decision, I think Zhang Wei Li is gonna win 4 rounds against you. I don't know. I think Zhang money line at plus money again. This is kind of an overreaction to Shevchenko in a way too. I think she's pretty old, and at some point there's a changing in the guard. Now Wei Li's 36, which is kind of crazy to me too. So I did not think she was that old. I think Shevchenko is a better striker. I think she's a better kickboxer, a better boxer, but I think Wei Li might be a little bit stronger. I think she might be able to work a takedown here, and that's where you've seen Shevchenko struggle. And if she can't take her down, that's another thing. If Shevchenko's defense relied on heavy takedowns. If she can't get those takedowns and has to stand on the feet, those last 2 fights were not very good. I don't know. Maybe I should just throw out the rear naked choke because she was winning 3 of those rounds. And then the split decision, she did win 3 of those rounds. And then she won 4 of those rounds against Grasso, and she won 4 of the rounds against Fiorot. This should be a banger fight. I'm probably too strong on Wei Li too, but I'm on Wei Li. I'm a believer. I just think it's the Zhang dynasty. It's Zhang time. I can't even tell you the last time she's lost to anybody, which has probably been a while. She lost to Namajunas by split decision. That was for the belt too, and then she got KO'd by Namajunas. And ever since then, she's been an absolute menace. And I think she'll continue that. I'm really a big fan of Zhang. I think she'll take the belt from Shevchenko, and this should be a great fight. I think it goes all 5 rounds, and I think it's not as close as it's going to look, and I think there's going to be a clear winner and a clear loser in this fight. It could go the other way as well. A lot of these fights, I think, are very close, could go either way, and whoever does win the fight is going to look way bigger of a favorite than the lines indicate. That's typically how it happens in a pick'em fight. There are times when it is very close, but there are times where certain fighters just look way better. And these are 2 spots where I think if you're not just the handicapping the matchups and recency biased, I think you would take them in a vacuum at that number, Wei Li and Morales, almost any time against anywhere, and I think their opponents are a little bit inflated from their recent performances. So yeah, I'm on Wei Li here. Zhang Wei Li money line, Zhang Wei Li decision. 25 absolute clinical minutes, world-class performance by, I think, arguably the best women's fighter on earth right now. Zhang Wei Li, let's go, baby. Woo! Thought this was gonna be quick picks. Send up talking. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. 18-2 versus 27-1, dude. Makhachev putting the win streak on the line here. 15 in a row, coming up to tie Anderson Silva champion. This is where everybody gets stopped, tying the spider. Is JDM going to put a stop to it? I think this fight's a lot closer. I think people think it's going to look like Hamza DDP, which I don't anticipate that happening at all. I think Jack's a super live dog here. I have no guts to pick Jack. I'm picking Islam Makhachev all day. I think Islam is going to win, kind of similar to, I think he'll win 3 to 4 rounds. I think he'll look good on the feet, and JDM might take a minute or two to get going. I think Jack will win certain moments and maybe even knock down Islam, and he might have to pull guard, and I think that's where the fight might slow down in favor of Makhachev. I like this fight to go deep, 4 or 5. I think these goes to championship rounds. I don't know if there's a finish. I think when somebody has time to prepare for Makhachev, you look about at Poirier, the first Volkanovski. I think it's a little in those title defenses, it's a little bit dicier than the guys coming in on short notice, Volkanovski and Moicano. I think this is an absolute war. I think this is going to put Makhachev at one more fight maybe and call it a career. I think he wins the belt, defends the belt, and then that's it. I think this is an absolute certified war. I like this fight. I think you can bet either fighter to wins in rounds 4 or 5 or decision, and I think they're both super live. One thing with this win streak on the line, 15 going to 16, I always think about Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. So I have to probably put $5 on JDM 5th round KO for plus 4,000, just because if the only knockouts in men's title fights since those 2 occurrences between Leon and Poatan beating Izzy has been Ilia Topuria. So if there is going to be another KO to end a men's championship, I see it happening in the 5th round. Just very poetic. Similar to where you're just going to have those extra time. The guys are too good to get finished before that. He's not going to take any risk or any chance. And if there is any chance for JDM to do it, that's his best chance. He might be down 3 rounds to 1, right? And he has to get that finish in the 5th round, and he might actually just catch. Because think about it, dude. I mean, Volkanovski had Islam in the back in the 5th round. JDM might be able to catch the finish. He was really that's something that I think about here. Yeah. So I think JDM can get that 5th round finish. I'm gonna go put a half a unit on it at plus 4,000, and yeah, that's what we're gonna do here. I think Islam's the official pick. I think he'll be winning on the scorecards, and he'll have to be able to survive and win the belt that way. In an absolute war, this is gonna be. But other than that, I can see JDM's not allowing the streak to continue and catching that 5th round KO very poetically, like we've seen guys do against absolute the streak, bro. It's the streak. So what's gonna break? Is the streak gonna break, or is he gonna break the streak or tie it up? Islam here, maybe arguably the best pound for pound fighter I've seen fight throughout his career to obtain the belt, to probably finish it. Let's go. We can do a quick recap here. Absolute bangers, dude. We're gonna go Camilo, Shirshkigabev, Klein, Mariscal, Dawkins, Wellmaker, Blanchfield, Rodriguez, Bo Nickel, Darius, Prates, Morales, Wei Lee, and Islam Makhachev. Like, comment, subscribe, leave your comments in the pics in the comments, and I'll give you $100 if you're 100% right. I'm going to post my bets a little bit later. I'm going to add maybe 1, 2 more. I don't know. I'm getting a little frisky here. It's the biggest card of the year, the last big card, MSG. I think we see a few more decisions than finishes, but I see a few finishes potentials, especially later in the fights. Typically, I see the fights going like this. Either the finishes happen in the first 2 rounds or the finishes happen in the 3rd round. I think this is more of a 3rd round finish kind of day. And, yeah, I'm kind of leaning some of those. Let's go, baby. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace and love. I'll see you next time.